Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to go over the spill error, why it happens in Excel, and how to avoid it and get around it. So in this example, I've just got a simple data set, employee expenses, and let's say I want to filter this data. All right, so I want to filter it by, I want to select the entire array, I want to filter it by the employee name. I want to say, okay, equals, let's say Emily Johnson. So filter function is pretty cool because, I can filter it in a single formula like this, and I don't have to, worry about copying anything. It's pretty dynamic. I can change it in here and do all that. But what can happen with some of these new Excel functions is because they spit out arrays, you see they've got a certain area that they're automatically going to determine how much space that they need, and so that area needs to be available to them. So for instance, if I were to copy this formula and paste it up here, exact same formula, I'm going to get that spill error. And that's basically saying that, there's not enough room here for this. You can see this outline here, that it's, that my current data set here is interfering with this one. So there's not enough room to put it in here. So that's essentially what it comes down to. The spill error just doesn't, it means that the function, the array, doesn't have the space it needs to fill in all the data. So if I were to drag this, let's say just over here, let's say, now it works. So now I could go on and, change this to say, let's say Mark Thompson in my example here. Got it. So now I've got my filter working just fine because as you can see, it's got this light blue border to show me exactly the cells that it's using up, and obviously it's going to be dynamic, so it's going to depend on my array and the number of results that are contained within it. Because it's an array, it just uses up technically this one cell is all I need to enter in data. These are, as you can see, grayed out, but it still needs to have the space available. Like if I hit delete, it's gone, just that one cell. But this works with these relatively new Excel functions that use up use array or return arrays. So for instance, another example is the unique function. Right? So the unique function is really cool. It can give you a list of unique values. Just select, simple range, and it's going to return it. But of course, we've got a spill error here as well because now, this one's not going wide, but it's going up and down. So again, it's still same sort of an issue. If I cut and paste, now we're fine. Another problem that you may run into is even though you've got enough room going up and down, if you're running across, let's say we've got a merged cell right here, click this, boom, that's enough to cause an issue because as you can see, the spill error is overlapping with that merged cell, and it doesn't work well with merged cells. That's going to cause an issue for you if you've got that. So that's another potential cause of this. Another thing can be is, let's say you've converted this into a table. Right? We convert into a table. Now the problem here is that if we were to try to create this sort of array in here, that's not going to work because a table, it's not going to automatically expand for you. So let's say we have another column here for, let's say, just call it array. Let's copy this exact formula into here, paste it, and as you can see, it's going to give me a spill because the table is not automatically going to expand outward to the right, and it needs that space. Again, as you can see from that outline, it's going to result in that spill error. So essentially all the spill error means is there's just not enough space, whether it's within a table, whether it's overlapping with data that you already have, whether it's the merged cell. Those can all cause problems for one of these functions. And so it's not going to happen on every function. I mean, if you use a VLOOKUP, that's going to be fine. If you're going to use a SUMIF, that's going to be fine because those formulas, those functions won't automatically take up a certain amount of space. But functions like filter, like the sequence function, right? If we use the sequence function and say, okay, we want to return 5 rows and 5 columns, start from number 1, go jump by such and such amount. Because it needs 5 rows and 5 columns, that's not happening here, right? I don't have clearance for 5 rows here. So again, I'm going to get a spill error until I move something, either the formula or I move the range that's interfering with that. So some of the functions that are going to cause issues like this are the filter function, rand array, sequence, the sort function, sort by, unique, all those sorts of functions that are going to return an array as your result. If they overlap, you're going to get a spill error. So that's an overview of how to get around the spill error. Basically, just make sure you have enough room, enough clearance for your function so that there's space where it doesn't overlap with your existing data and there aren't any merged cells in the way. Thanks for watching.